Hello and welcome to African News on VOP TV. I am Fina Okechukwu. Gabon's Deposed President Ali Bongo and two of his sons have gone on hunger strike to protest against their alleged subjection to acts of torture and barbarity. Recall that Mr. Bongo was ousted in a military coup in August last year, shortly after he won a disputed presidential poll. He was then confined to his house in the capital, Libreville, along with two of his sons, Jalil and Bilal. The ruling junta also placed his wife Sylvia Bongo and elder son Nuruddin in prison, awaiting trial on corruption allegations. However, Tuesday, their lawyers alleged that Nuruddin was repeatedly tortured, beaten with a hammer and crowbar, strangled, whipped, and electrocuted with a teaser. The father alleged that Sylvia was beaten, strangled, and forced to watch Nuruddin's torture. Gabonese authorities are yet to comment on the allegations. The ousted president, aged 64, had led the oil-rich country since 2009 when he succeeded his father, who had been in power for more than 40 years. The family lawyers also say that they've filed a complaint with the Paris Judicial Court a week before Gabon's junta leader, General Brice Oligui Nguema, is due to visit France. An unspecified number of villagers are feared trapped following a landslide in Kenya's Kimende area of central Kiambu County. The incident happened Tuesday night following heavy rains in the area, which is reported to have slope. Photos shared online showed several homes covered in mudslides. Following the incident, the area has been cordoned off and declared a danger zone by Kenya Red Cross. Although no fatalities have been confirmed so far, several people remain unaccounted for, the aid agency added. Meanwhile, rescue efforts are ongoing in the area. But there are fears that the landslide could encroach on the neighboring areas as the rains continue. To recall that a total of 289 people have died among more than 280,000 others displaced after weeks of rainfall across Kenya. A dire situation unfolds in Zimbabwe as over half of the population grapples with the aftermath of an El Nino-induced drought. Reports indicate that 6 million people in rural areas will require food assistance between May 2024 and March 2024. Information Minister Jenfan Muswere reviewed these findings during a recent media briefing, emphasizing the urgent need for support. The challenges extend beyond rural region, with significant portions of urban houses facing food insecurity, with grain stocks at critically low levels and imports projected to meet demand. The nation faced a formidable task in addressing the widespread hunger crisis. An Algerian man who has been missing for more than 25 years was found held captive in his neighbor's home in the northern Jelfal province, local media report citing authorities. Recall that local media place Bin reported about Omran Omar's disappearance between 1996 and 1998 during the Algerian Civil War. However, he was found in an underground hole covered with hay. He said his captor had cast a spell on him, leaving him unable to call for help. The brother of the man's alleged captor had outed him on social media after they got into a dispute over inheritance. The man, now in his mid-40s, I'm talking about Omran Omar, is receiving medical attention after he was rescued by authorities. Meanwhile, his alleged captor, age 61, is being arrested. Today, the United Nations mark a significant milestone, the 30th anniversary of the International Year of Families. This annual observance, held on May 15th, aims to celebrate the importance of families and their roles in society. The UN adopted this resolution in 1994 to raise awareness about the significance of families, highlighting the challenges they face and promote the ideals of togetherness and unity. This year's theme, Families and Climate Change, shines a light on the critical role families play in addressing the global climate crisis. from adopting sustainable practices to supporting each other through climate-related challenges. Families are at the forefront of this effort. VOP TV Promise Any brings you more details.
Today's theme, Families and Climate Change, aims to raise awareness of how climate change impacts families and the role families can play in climate action. Climate change negatively affects family health and well-being through increased pollution, extreme weather events that displace people, disruptions to agriculture and food system, and economic impacts. Speaking with VOPTV, Dr. Wolabi, a mental health professional, highlighted the importance of climate change on families.
Climate is very, very important to us as individuals and as a member of a family. And that is why World Health Organization and United Nations, they don't joke about climate change because they know in the long run it will have one negative or positive effect in the lives of people. So in a time like this, the way we manage climate changes tend to have positive or negative impact in our lives. For example, we people will live in the tropical region, and we know that we have two major seasons of the year, and the climate changes that are associated with these seasons tend to have positive or negative impact. For example, during the rainy season, if the environment are not well managed or are not properly managed, it can lead to flood. And we know once there is flooding in a particular area, it tends to have negative impact in the living standard of people around there because a lot of properties will be lost. And when properties are lost, definitely it's going to have negative impact on the mental health of the people. People go depressed. There will be sadness, though it may not be on due this time around. People will be extremely sad because they've lost something very, very important to them. Apart from this, people will lose interest in what it is to enjoy doing. At the same time, some may have undue weakness and they may be extremely fatigued. There will be hopelessness, helplessness will set in. Some may even go to the extent of them having suicidal ideation or eventually attempting suicide or even taking their own lives. This is what climate change. That is why when governments and policy makers, when they are making emphasis about climate change and people are not taking it serious because they know it's going to have a kind of negative impact in people's life.
Families contribute significantly to green gas emissions through electricity usage, transportation choices, food consumption, and overall consumption patterns. Empowering families through education, changing consumption habits, and advocacy is critical for meaningful and effective climate action. Families are consumers, and advocates can drive the transition to a circular economy. Promise A, reporting for VOP TV.
All right, thank you so much, Promise, for that wonderful reportage. You're watching African News on VOP TV. More to come. Tanzania internet network restored after 3 days outage. These and more after the break. Stay with us.